Well, I'm an independent biomedical researcher from Gloucester, Massachusetts. I've had a lifelong career in the biomedical industry, and my passion is really human physiology and molecular biology. Well, I think C60 is the most profoundly healing molecule discovered to date. It is unsurpassed in terms of its antioxidant potential, primarily because it's one of the few molecules that's able to function at the level of the mitochondria. And that's important because that is where the majority of our free radicals are generated as we produce ATP, which is the body's energy currency. Most antioxidants that people take in supplement form or even in dietary form never really reach the level of the mitochondria. C60 is quite different. It's one of the only molecules that can scavenge the superoxide radical. I think there isn't anybody that couldn't benefit from what C60 has to offer. Certainly the aged will benefit the most because they have the most mitochondrial decay, but because C60 also is a detoxifier, I mean, it's a form of carbon, and as such, it's nature's detoxifier, it will pull out, a variety of toxic substances from the body. And the benefit to that is that if you clean the bloodstream, if you clean the lymph, if you clean the intracellular spaces, cellular signaling can work exponentially better. So basically, you can improve all aspects of your physiology just by improving the cellular signaling and cleaning up the garbage. I think the most profound thing that C60 is doing is scavenging the free radicals that are being generated on a daily basis. If you take away the free radicals, you automatically reduce the oxidative stress. The second thing it's doing is it's removing toxicity. Plain old pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, all of that. It's just neutralizing toxins. And with those two things alone, you're going to feel better. And so that, I think, is the biggest benefit, those two things, free radical scavenging and reducing its toxicity. Free radical is basically an unstable molecule in the body, and it's very, very destructive. And C60 has the ability to neutralize that free radical so that it can stop frying your tissues, basically. It can stop the cellular damage that's happening. It can stop the DNA damage that's happening. And that's really important if you want to stave off aging, because aging is just an accumulation of these genetic changes that don't get repaired. So anything that can quench a free radical is beneficial. And C60 seems to do it in a controlled fashion, whereas you need a certain amount of free radicals because they act as signaling molecules, which will upregulate your body's own antioxidants as a defense mechanism. So you don't want to take too many away, but C60 seems to do it in a fashion that is selective. But it's also an assist that is beneficial in aging individuals because that whole process becomes dysregulated with age. Oxidative stress is basically a form of rusting. If you can think of a nail that's rusting, that's a sign of oxidation or oxidative stress. If you think of an apple that's been cut open that's starting to turn brown, that's evidence of oxidative stress. Rancid oils are oils that have been exposed to oxygen and are starting to decay. And so it's a process of being exposed to oxygen, but we as human beings require oxygen to live. You need oxygen to carry out all your bodily functions. But the byproduct of that is oxidative stress. And the more time you're on planet Earth, the more oxidative stress you're going to have. The more heavy metals or toxicity you're exposed to, you're going to have more oxidative stress. The more athletic endeavors you engage in, going to create more oxidative stress. So it has some benefit. Your body does have natural defenses against it. And in response to oxidative stress, the cells will upregulate their own production of antioxidants to deal with it, and they consequently become stronger, but to a point. And with age, that process becomes less efficient and somewhat dysregulated. And so whatever you can do to assist your body in dealing with the oxidative stress would be beneficial. Well, I had gone down the trail of C60 after I had gotten the results of my 23andMe test. And it revealed that I had rather much to my surprise, a genetic susceptibility towards oxidative stress. theoretically speaking. So as a project, I decided to investigate what supplements might be available to address that impairment. And I found that there's only really one or two available to consumers to address susceptibilities to oxidative stress at the genetic level. One of them was C60. And I had known about C60 from my prior research, and I knew that it was an industrial product, and I did not like the idea of taking an industrial product for biological purposes. So I was almost ready to give up on it until I heard that there was a food-grade option. And so I started to look at it a little closer, and it seemed pretty benign, and people were having good results from it, and I said, I'd give it a try. So I ordered a bottle, and I've taken a lot of supplements over the years, and so like with most supplements, I wasn't expecting much. But I took a first dose and didn't notice anything immediately, but the next morning, I woke up and was expecting to have the usual lethargy, stiffness, fatigue in the morning before getting going, and I was amazed when I got out of bed, and I had none of that. I felt like a 6-year-old kid. And I immediately thought, well, what did I do differently the day before? Why do I feel so good? And I thought back, and well, the only thing I did differently was the C60. And I wasn't ready to ascribe those benefits to the C60 immediately. So I let a few days go by, and then I took another dose. Same thing the following morning. It was amazing. And I was completely flabbergasted that one supplement could have this profound an effect on the way I was feeling. So that began 15 months of research into what it is and what it does, and it's nothing short of miraculous. This particular molecule in this pristine form, and not the industrial form, solvent-free. I have to emphasize that repeatedly, solvent-free, has just the most profound benefits of any supplement I've ever taken. In terms of elevating your physiology on every level. Everything is improved. It's particularly noticeable in me because I'm an endurance athlete, and what I notice most is I don't have to eat, I don't have to sleep, and when you're an endurance athlete, that's huge. And that's not an exaggeration. It sounds exaggerated, but it's not. And so I'm sold. It's probably the most life-changing supplement I've ever taken. Well, people could get in touch with me through the C60 Anti-Aging Facebook group. I check in almost daily. I'm happy to exchange information with anybody or answer any questions. I don't claim to be an authority, but I've got a wealth of information that I'm happy to share.